So Jay Cutler signed a humongous contract today. It's reportedly between 15.6 to 18 mil per year. He is signed through 2020.
Right, but that doesn't matter. Like, what's it how much is guaranteed?
50 million guaranteed.
So
I was going to get to that number.
So basically 3 years. That's what they really got to pay.
And it allays that fear of who is going to be quarterbacking the Bears in 2019.
Well, we know it's not going to be Josh McCown. Now, you came in this morning and said that you feel bad for me and the Bears because this is something that you think should not have ever happened.
I think that there are 31 NFL general managers not kicking themselves today.
Really?
Yeah, I think that Jay Cutler.
I think there are plenty of teams that would love to have Jay Cutler.
But it's not like Jay Cutler got away. I mean, if you get Jay Cutler, inevitably you're still talking about who you're going to draft next year as a quarterback. I just think that nobody's ever felt really secure since that first or second season with the Broncos with Jay Cutler. He came to the Bears. He did really well. His interceptions went down. Mm-hmm.
Which is an overrated statistic altogether, I think.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's an overrated statistic because turnovers, it turns out, are important.
I totally understand that, but taking chances.
In terms of winning. Listen, I know, Rick. I mean, okay. I don't disagree that it's overrated, but I also think when you look at the teams that win championships and the teams that do better, they're the ones that have that plus turnover ratio. And when you have a quarterback that throws lots of interceptions, you don't have that. I think it's too much money. And Ben's right. The guaranteed money, you look at it, it's not that much a year for a considerably, I would say for a while, top flight quarterback.
See, now here's my thing as a fan of this very team. The only way that I think they could justify not signing him is if they were to somehow trade a certain piece that they think is deteriorating, a la Julius Peppers or someone like that, and try to get in the top 5 and try to draft Teddy Bridgewater, which obviously
Julius Peppers
they would
get
not
you in
do.
the top 5. I don't think you get a top.
No,
5.
I mean surround a deal with him being the key
like
piece.
if they gave up their 17th pick and Julius Peppers at number 3, that might do something like that.
That's the only way I could ever envision them not signing Jay Cutler because the market is so slim.
That's the key thing. It's very hard if they don't re-sign Jay Cutler, then you're starting over, and you're not the Browns, you're not the Texans. You're not going to get Brett Hundley or Teddy Bridgewater. If Brett Hundley comes out, you're not going to get a clear, ready quarterback. That said, at 17, sometimes it turns out the 4th quarterback taken in the draft is an excellent
people are also saying that this is a very deep quarterback draft.
It is.
In terms of that somebody's going to get a gem in a later round that they didn't know was going to be a gem.
So you could still do that. I mean,
the Bears can still do that.
We forget. You look at
not if they draft Dan Lefevre.
I believe the quarterback with the best quarterback rating of all time plays for the Green Bay Packers, if I'm not mistaken, currently right now. And you got to remember that guy sat for 3 years. Which doesn't seem like that feels inconceivable now.
So he has a 100 quarterback rating?
Yeah, the best it can be. 100, right. Yeah. What could be better? They wouldn't make it better than 100.
No, I guess not.
By the way, I believe it's 104.9.
That's his?
Yeah.
Well, he's a little off of the 158.6. That's perfect.
So stupid.
The dumbest thing in sports.
Passer rating? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Passer rating, by the way, Jay Cutler. Want to take a guess at what his
I couldn't guess. I don't know
because I don't know what it means.
89.2.
Oh, that sucks. That's great.
That sounds right. Yeah, it seems off.
And 19 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. So
I just think
cut down.
Remember that
He
great
was
year when
injured.
Eric Kramer had a 97.3?
Oh,
that was awesome.
God, that was a
Eric
long time
Kramer.
ago now, yeah.
Why would you bring up that name?
Well, because we're talking about Bears passer rating.
No, don't. Just do me a favor. Don't. How about that? So all in favor. I mean, I'm for it. Obviously, you're against it, and you're against it.
No, I'm not against it.
No, Ben's for it.
I'm neither for it nor against it. I think that.
Okay, so if you were Phil Emery, you would do it. Bears GM.
It's not. It doesn't exist by itself. Like, the question is, if you're the Bears and you got to revamp the defense considerably, what do you do? Where are you going to spend your money? If you got to go get another quarterback, then you've got 2 giant tasks to fill. And the Bears obviously believe enough that for the next 3 years, because the guaranteed portion is under $50 million, which really means basically 3 years.
It's 50 on the dot, is
50,
what I read.
So that's basically, if he's getting 15 and a half a year, that's basically 3 years that they have to worry about paying him. And then they're going to have an opportunity to get rid of him and not have it count significantly against the salary cap. It's not that terrible a decision.
It's still going to count against it, just not as much.
Right.
Well, no, not nearly as much. If it's not guaranteed, you can generally, at that point, you can let guys go.
Right.
So.
Those are the only things that I don't know because they didn't release it yet. Right. I don't believe.
But that's basically still NFL contracts are not exactly like they used to be, where they're all fully net. Now there's guaranteed money in them, so that's going to count against you. again, depending on how long the annual salary, that should be about, basically you get to the point. In 2018, they want to go in another direction. They'll be able to. He's 31 years old. He'll be 34 then. It's not the worst decision. It's just hard to see him taking a team to the Super Bowl. But it's not
it's not hard for me to see it. It's really not.
But it's not inconceivable either. But he's got to get better. And the thing of it is, he's 31.
30. He's not going to get better.
He's not going to get better.
He's not going to get better.
He is what he is. He might have a nice lucky season unless, and I didn't see any sign of it this year, but unless it turns out that Mark Trestman is the guy who figures him out, which sometimes happens in the NFL, where guys get the right coach and the right system, and they do better. And the number of quarterbacks are not like running backs. The number of quarterbacks who found some sort of who've gotten significantly better after they turned 31 or 32. It's not a small list.
No,
it happens.
It definitely happens, and that's a good point. I mean, maybe there's something that Trestman's doing that can do with him. He doesn't seem like the old dog that learns new tricks. That's Jay Cutler, and that's the problem.
No, but out of anything, when you have a new master controlling what you do, he could learn in it. And out of anything, that's why I think Josh McCown succeeded, is because it's a good offensive system.
You just said Josh McCown. They also won with Josh McCown. So that's
which goes into the coaching.
Well, it goes into the coaching and the system, which means they could win with another quarterback as well, and not have to pay this quarterback.
I think you're making
money. So you're
making a fair point.